you can just briefly, kind of summarize what you had just said, so they can, and then you can continue.
Of course, yeah. So I would say that most men in this generation, not just American black men, are struggling with being able to court women. So I don't disagree with her because this is her experience and this is what she is witnessing within her community. But for me, this is something that's an issue that pertains to all races and all men within, the American culture, with some exceptions, right? I would say the majority of this new generation, when it comes to dating, they don't know how to court women properly, or they don't want to put an investment into courting a woman properly. So to me, the like I agree with her. For me personally, a coffee date for a first date to me is very low effort. Like if you wanted to kind of set up a proper date, why don't you ask me things that I like, things that we both like, kind of get to know me in like a conversation first. And then we can, discuss maybe setting up like, hey, we both like this type of food, or we both like to do these types of things. Why don't we go do that type of activity? Or let's say if we both like music, we can go to a concert. If we both like, for example, sushi, we can find a cute like sushi place. But for me, it's like I feel like most men in the current generation, either they don't know how to court women or they don't like women enough to court them. And this is not me saying that they are not attracted to women, but they do not like women enough to court them, if that makes sense.
No, I understand. So, do you have a lot of experience dating Caucasian men?
I date all races. So for me, I don't like restrict myself to like a race preference, but I've dated like, white, Latino, black, everything,
Yeah,
Asian, like,
yeah,
so for me,
I'm just asking, is there one group of men that you can say right now at 27 that you've dated more than other groups of men?
I would say, so I'm Middle Eastern, so I've
Okay.
have a lot of experience with dating within my own culture. And to me, for me in my own culture, my perspective is it's a little bit different than some of the women on the panel because culturally it's a little bit more conservative for me. So of course, like education is prioritized. Working, I believe that women should be able to work and make their own money, and that way they have something to fall back on and support themselves. But for me, in our culture, I cannot like move out of my family's home until I am married or at least engaged to somebody. So that's the cultural norm that we have here. So for some people that are saying like you have to have your own apartment and have that, that doesn't really apply to my culture, especially for people that are more conservative within the culture. So for me, I'm not going to, when I'm dating now, I'm dating with the purpose of dating to marry. And I tell people that. I don't date to just pass the time. I'm dating to find a husband and to get married and have children because that's what I want. But for me, I also stated that if I feel as though a man cannot provide, because let's say, God forbid, I get sick, God forbid, if when I'm pregnant, I can't work because of medical issues, for me, I don't trust putting my future children in a daycare because I have trust issues with that. So I would want to be in the home raising them, and that's a job in its own, right? So for me, the new generation of everything has to be 50-50. It doesn't work because naturally women give more. Women mostly give more in the domestic labor. Women birth the children. Women are usually the primary caretakers of children, and so far and so forth. I know some people are saying that's unrealistic, or what if he gets sick or whatever, then of course I could step up. But for me, it's also like I'm looking for somebody that's going to provide and protect me, or that feels like I'm going to feel protected in my home, or if something happens when we're out, I can look to him to be the leader and protector. I'm not gonna, if I'm going 50-50 with somebody, like even culturally, because it doesn't like, I can't leave my home until I get married. But I would rather at that point, if I'm splitting bills, I would rather just get a roommate or move in with a best friend or something and we could split bills together. There's no, like, what is the point in me going 50-50 with a man that I'm supposed to pursue and marry when I could just do that with somebody else? That's like a friend or somebody that I know, a cousin, my siblings. whatever, so far and so forth. But for me, I just think that traditionalism has been taken out of the dating game. A lot of people don't prioritize marriage. They're prioritizing, they're kind of doing it backwards, right? Before it was you're supposed to get married, then have kids, so far and so forth. Some people are having kids and then getting married later on, or having kids with somebody and they stay in a relationship with them for 10, 5, 10, 15 years, but there's no hope of that woman ever getting a wedding ring on her finger. So just, I know there's like cultural differences that I'm discussing right now, but for me personally, I don't think that anything that this woman said was false. I agree with her and her stance, because I also see that, correct me if I'm wrong as well, but I also see that there are a lot of black men that are American black men that are dating that prefer white women, but they're not getting the same flack and the same criticism as this young lady saying that she's not willing to date American black men. And I also don't think that she's going to disregard all black men completely. She's saying American black men. So maybe black men in European cultures or African cultures are not they're not excluded, right, from that scenario. So I don't disagree with the creator on the left at all. I think if she wants to set a standard for herself and value herself, then she should be able to do that.
Okay, I respect everything you just said. I'm gonna ask you a question, then I'm gonna say something, and then we're gonna move on to you, see. Okay, so you said that you're not specific to like any race, or any ethnicity or any nationality, but from your experience, from your personal experience, because you can't speak for all men and you can't speak for all Middle Eastern women. Have when you've dealt with American black men, have they been like, for the most part inclined and prone to actually try to take you on a date, or were they more so just trying to like get in your pants as quick as possible?
So, in my personal experience, I've had it to where it's the second option where they're just trying to like sleep with me. And I don't do that myself. I'm very conservative with that. And I value that. I'm also a religious person. I'm a Christian woman. So I don't put, I don't take that very lightly. I've also seen it to where even at my age, being 27, from, American black men, they come up to me asking me for my Snapchat or something like that, when to me it's very juvenile behavior. Like, if you can't even ask me for my number to get to know me and to text me, you have to go through a social media app that is geared towards, like, to me, high school children. Like, it's like, it gives very juvenile to me, if that makes sense. So for me, I've just, with my personal experiences, it's just not the experiences that I want to have with dating.
Okay, you just talked about men asking women for their number and basically like cold approaching, and we can get into that a little later. Thank you, Lorene. I'm gonna move on to C. Okay. C, thank you for waiting patiently, ma'am. Go ahead. Please say your age, and then you can get into like how you feel about the video.